Yeah, I hope that this message finds you well. We have entered with the arrival of today's new moon, the season of Ganje Ba'ahyahwizin, the time of appreciating the Diné New Year, or specifically the joining and midpoint in this season's change. And it is one of my absolute favorite times of the year. We celebrate the Diné New Year every October in English based on the Gregorian calendar. But really, the new year begins with the arrival of the new moon, which is today. And it's just such a magical time. I recently spent time in the bosque here in the lands of the Tamayame people, and my son and I were along in what in English is called the Rio Grande, and walking amidst the groves of cottonwood trees. And for those that are familiar in the Southwest, they are just beautiful trees that turn this incredible gold color in the fall, and so the leaves are finally changing, and it was just such a beautiful moment. We got to see some beautiful blessings of four-legged beings that came to visit us, and it was just so wonderful. I was recently in communication with a friend, a colleague of mine, and we were sharing astrological signs, and I had told her that I was a Virgo. And she was like, of course you're a Virgo. Because in the org that I work in, I work on our Honor Native Land project. And it was really funny because she really related like my work and our work in our org around the protecting, honoring, and mobilizing toward Indigenous sovereignty in relationship to land, air, cosmos, to my earth sign of being a Virgo. And it was such a revelation for me to like be in that place of like, wow, like that is so true. And as I was reflecting more and more, I had this really big epiphany. I realized that I I need to be in the land, and for the longest time in quarantine, but also in my adult life as I've lived and worked away from my homelands, I've always equated that need as specifically being in the Netra, in my homeland, and in the places that I grew up. And this was such a transformational, like, belief, or just like shift in my beliefs, to recognize that I'm like, actually, no, like my spirit in general, yes, it has deep connections and desire and need to be in my community's land, but I also just desperately like essential to my survival is to be in the land, to be able to see sunrises and welcome the sun and pray, to take walks, to hear, as I tell my son, the way that the wind tickles the trees and the leaves rustle. And all of those things are so much a part of what nourishes me and like make me work as a person. And so our walk yesterday was one of those moments of just feeling just like utter recalibration, like in my soul, to be in nature at this moment where the new moon is coming, this new season, and really like shift into as we'll begin to like shift into winter and the season of Hai. It is just so profound. The winter season is like my favorite season. And I just had such joy yesterday with my baby as we were out and walking, and like we prayed, and it was so beautiful. It was so wonderful. And I just wanted to share this message, share it with you, because sometimes I think I know I don't make enough space to, especially now, especially with this pandemic in our election season, I don't make enough space to really like reflect and like just root myself in what I deeply, deeply need. And I'm so grateful to my colleague, Carol. Shout out to Carol for just that offering, because it was so simple, and yet I just completely saw myself differently. Like I am now like just want to continue to grow into like my like earth goddess like self, like into this really just expansive like being of connection to not just my homelands, but just everything around me. And I think that really is part of, or could be if we choose it to be, our journey as Indigenous people, as Diné people, however, whatever your home communities are, whatever your lineages are. Science tells us now, hundreds of years after our ancestors have known, that nature actually helps us to rewire. Being in nature and having that is medicine. It is healing. Like there are studies that prove there are neurological, physiological benefits to being in nature, in sunshine. And I share that to say that whatever you want to manifest in that like is possible, and that like I am just like feeling and like vibing that now, and it really is such an empowering way, because I have felt so disconnected, and also just kind of really focused on like my heartbreak at not being able to travel home, as I mentioned in the last video, and have really felt free, have felt a kind of liberation of just all of the different beliefs I have that can allow me to be rooted in land, and rooted in a way that allows me deep spiritual connections to even places I'm far away from. So I hope that you have a beautiful Diné New Year, and that you continue to cultivate that spirit of Ganje Bahyahuidsin, that it really isn't just one day, it is a season of being in appreciation for this transformation, this start of the new year, as we have been harvesting, as we have been cultivating kinship and customary practices. All of those things give us nourishment, and so I just hope that you're in that space of gratitude as well. So I am sending you so much goodness and so much light, and hope that you have a beautiful Diné New Year. Hogona.